Having battled severe perinatal depression and anxiety, I know that the healing process is very much a journey, and there was so many times where I felt like as if I was not enough and that I was a failure.
I realised I had postnatal anxiety and depression with this little one here, probably a few months in, when I started really, shutting everyone else out. Not being able to even get out of the car or go to the shop, and just realising that even though I felt guilty about it, that it's okay and to accept it. I managed through communication, so allowing you and so my eldest and my husband to know when I've reached my limit and when I need the help, and just asking for that help and not feeling guilty about asking for the help.
I realised that something wasn't right when I was telling people that I could have left the baby in the hospital and just walked right out of there after I had him and come home like nothing had ever happened. Would say things like, even when he was a few months old, I could just give him up for adoption. And just watching the looks on their faces, because they didn't know what to say. No one ever told me that what I was saying was too much, and nobody asked me if I was okay.
I knew that I had postnatal depression when I didn't want to come home. I didn't want to see my child. I didn't want to see my family. Anytime I got a second to myself, I felt like running away and not coming back. I was terrified. I felt like a vice was around my heart every time he cried, and I just felt like it would never end, and I wanted it to.
7 weeks postpartum with my second child, and basically I was at the point where I wasn't able to feed myself, yet alone a baby, breastfeed a baby at that. And then I had a 2.5-year-old toddler that I also had to look after and who I was responsible for. I found this to be like Groundhog Day. It was like I would get up out of bed and the same thing would occur over and over and over again until I cracked. And I remember the day that I cracked because it's such a surreal moment when your brain has that much power over your whole body.
I knew something wasn't right when the baby blues that were meant to only last a couple of days continued on into the weeks and the months. It was a relentless feeling of overwhelm and self-doubt that took me to my absolute lowest.
I have 2 boys, and with both boys I've had postnatal anxiety. My postnatal anxiety makes me a warrior, and I am 1 in 5.
PNDA affects 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men. How many of those women and men remain silent and suffered in silence? Worried about stigmas, worried about judgment. Together, we can remove the stigmas.
My biggest advice would be to encourage other women or men even that are going through PNDA to just try not to beat themselves up. Don't feel guilty. A lot of people go through it. You don't need to feel guilty about it. You still love your baby. It's not that you don't, it's just that you just need some help and it's not your fault.
I would say don't ask for help. You tell people what you need, because unless you actually tell people exactly what you need, even if you don't think you know, you know.
You're not alone. I'm still in it. It gets better, and you're doing an amazing job. If you weren't doing an amazing job, you probably wouldn't be watching this video because you wouldn't care. And I think that that's the basis of it, is that we care and we want to be better.
It's something that is there for exponential growth. It really, really helps you It's there to show you how strong you are.
The one thing that will make the biggest difference to you is to remember that you aren't alone in this. Reaching out for support was the thing that lifted the weight from my shoulders. It was the defining moment in my recovery and one of the strongest things I've done in my life.
Having been through PNDA, having been through perinatal depression and anxiety, I know that my PNDA makes me a warrior. Going through PNDA and still feeding my baby, still looking after my baby and looking after myself whilst being in survival mode makes me a warrior.
You are enough. You're enough. You are enough. You are enough.